Thank you very much. Wow.
Welcome to another episode of the Be Wise podcast. I'm your host, Chris Wright, where we discuss politics, entertainment, social media, and sports. So today, of course, there's nothing else to talk about really but the election. Donald Trump wins. Oh my God, Donald Trump wins. I feel so vindicated right now. I put my name on the line. I put my reputation on the line. I left the Democratic Party last year. I became an independent. I knew I was going to vote for Donald Trump, did all my research, followed him, looked at the last term that he served. And I said, you know what? This is the guy. I looked at our government. I looked at our politics. Everything was taking a turn south, wasn't doing very well. So I am very vindicated, putting my name as a black man, as a black voter on the line, because everyone will call you names. They'll call you out. They want to know why. They don't understand it. They think we're supposed to be monolithic. We are not. I did TikTok lives. I did TikTok posts, and I just took a lot of heat, took a lot of strays, and I feel like boom. So not only is being a black conservative tough, but you just have to have very, very thick skin, very thick skin. And when you talk about the Larry Elders, the Candace Owens, the Jason Whitlocks, the Clarence Thomases, people like that, everybody calls you and them Uncle Toms, or you're not down for the people, or don't call us when you're in trouble like we're some gang. You know, screw that. I reject that. I also reject the culture that if you say, because if you're rejecting hip hop, or rejecting twerking, or rejecting in the inner city, crime and violence and, police shootings. And you're telling people, you know what? Yes, there are police shootings. Yes, there is but compared to the amount of traffic stops that police do, that, white cops killing black men is such a small percentage, that there are bad cops, but there's also bad teachers. There's also bad cooks. There's bad people in every profession. For God's sake, there's bad people at McDonald's. Wherever you go, there's going to be a very, very small percentage of people. But we all know what the media does. They give you this narrative that, oh, a white police officer shoots an unarmed black man in Chicago. All right. And those same people who cry and march and protest and burn down buildings, they don't want to talk about, the amount of black on black crime. But you know why? And they really shouldn't, because there's white on white crime too. Crime is crime. It's all bad. All right. So let's stop putting color on it. Let's stop looking at the world through a race lens. Let's stop being, race idolaters, and just like accept things for what they are. But when it comes to this election, because I went down a different path, because I get so passionate, I get heated. But what I was going to say, when it came to this election, I felt vindicated, because the Republicans won the House, the Republicans won the Senate, they won the White House, they won the popular vote, they won the electoral vote, and they also have the Supreme Court. All right. It's time to make America great again. It's time to have more conservative values, more Christian values, better family values, bring back a patriarchy where, you had really, really great leadership globally throughout the world. I'm down for women. I love women. All right. But like I said, our framers, our founding fathers, if they understood the state of America today, they would turn over in their graves. They would turn over in their graves. We've lost our way. We've lost our way. All right. So it's time to get back on track. It's time to have great leadership. And it's time to turn our country in a way that it was when I was growing up. Was everything perfect? No. But we respected our elders. We respected authority. We respected the household. The culture was about progress, economic progress, home ownership, building something, being self-reliant, being independent. Those were the values that I was taught as a young man. My father taught me. So it was a red wave, and it was a beautiful thing. And here was Donald Trump pretty much just bringing the family. Hey, the band is back again.
Thank you very much. Wow.
They're back. Look at all those people. Look at the family on stage.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends in this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond.
Yeah, so 2 impeachments. We had wait a minute. 2 assassination attempts. I knew I wanted to say something about that. 34 indictments, 4 still pending. Lost the election to Joe Biden, and he came back. So I didn't vote for Donald Trump the first time. I was a full-blown liberal. I was a full-blown Obamaite, as you might call it, right? But after watching the way he was treated all these years, over the last 4 years, and I was just like, wow, why are they afraid of this man? Why do they fear him? And while all these liberals and Democrats was bashing America and saying how bad it was, he was one, and a lot of Republicans were saying what a great country we could be, how proud they were to be an American, how they raised and waved their flags. And I was like, that's me. I have conservative values. I have a tattoo on my arm. You can't see it, but it says God, family, and country. That's what it's all about. That's conservative values. So it was a great thing. And the thing that drives me crazy is all these sanctimonious, highbrow, virtue signaling, liberals on TV crying and whining and saying it's the end of our world and this country's going to go to crap, right? In the next 4 years. And I can't believe half the country would vote for him. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was more than half. He won by a landslide. 290 plus electoral votes compared to 222, 240, whatever. I don't know what she had, but it didn't matter. She was so butthurt that she couldn't even come and say thank you to her supporters. She couldn't even give them a path forward. She couldn't even let them know it would be okay. She couldn't console them. That's how she did. And then you get guys like Van Jones, who I like. But if you remember in 2020, when Joe Biden won the election, you would have thought Jesus had come back.
It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happy to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. This is vindication for a lot of people.
Okay, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I was going to show that whole clip, but I can't take it. What's he crying about? Van Jones makes a lot of money. He has a good life. He has a good family. And he's worried about something that Donald Trump might say behind a podium. Come on, really? You can't. Okay, so maybe I'm the bad guy because it doesn't touch my heart. Here he is last night after Donald Trump wins, and someone on the panel had told him, hey, Donald Trump, it's his last 4 years. He has a great plan for America. Hey, we're going to move forward. He has all these great ideas for the border, for immigration, for the economy, for tax cuts. And here's Van Jones. Nah, I don't see it that way.
I see it differently because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy. And once again, they were facing rejection. And that hurts. They thought tomorrow morning they're going to walk out with their shoulders back a little bit, maybe able to breathe for the first time and feel like they belong someplace. They did everything that they knew how to do. And it's going to be harder than it should be tomorrow for them to hold their heads up. And they're not the only people who are hurting tonight. If you're a parent of a trans kid, your child's face was used as a springboard to power for somebody.
Okay. See, I can't take it. I can't take it. Maybe because I've watched these clips a few times before I posted them. But you're sitting up there talking about how bad America is, how these kids are going to wake up in the morning and their hopes and dreams are fleed and they just won't be able to go on. They're going to lay in a fetal position for the next 4 years. Oh my, what is up with black men crying these days, all on television? All right. I know we got to a point, back when it was acceptable to everyone having a therapist and everyone seeking out, consolation and, love and hugs. And I know we've reached that point, but sometimes we just take it too far. Like when I saw Randy Moss crying over something John Gruden said 10 years ago, where he insulted some guy's lips. I can't remember. It was like the Players Association's president or whoever the guy was. And he said that he had big lips. He saw it in a text. It was 10 years prior. And it was Randy Moss.
These big contracts because they want to be able to lead 70 men, coaches, equipment staff, and managers to the number one goal, and that's to win the championship. And for us to be moving back and not forward in 21st century, like I said, man, National Football League, this hurts me. The clock is ticking, man.
This hurts me. This hurts me. Randy Moss, grow a set, man, please. My God. And Ryan Clark's son was not physically assaulted. He was called a name. Here he was.
To all of them. And so I'm blessed that my child is still here. If something would have happened to him, it would have broke me. And so for me, I got to do a better job of educating him, and I got to protect him because I wouldn't know how to live if he wouldn't have made it out. And so thank you for everybody that reached out to me. And I know it's getting better, but it's not better yet, and better for everybody. And we just got to keep staying together, man. And
bro, you're a millionaire. You played in the professional football league. You I don't know if you have a Hall of Fame career, but you and Randy Moss back then, come on, man. These guys can never be conservatives. They are in the right party. They're in a whiny party. They get on TV and get all up in their feelings because your son was called the N-word by some passerbys. I've been called more racial slurs by my own people than I have white people. Man, y'all you need to grow a set. Anyway. So, yeah, it was a great day. But, in the exit polls, it said something about only 12% of Black people voted for Donald Trump. I know that's wrong. There was a survey on CNN of about 23,000 people, and they only got 12%. I know that once we see the real exit polls, that you're going to see that probably 20% or more blacks and a much higher percent of Latinos voted for Donald Trump. So kudos to those people out there that were brave enough and fearless enough to go the other way. So there was another thing I wanted to talk about. The fact that there was a commercial from the Lincoln Project, and it was about these women who were basically defying their husbands and going in another direction. They said they were going to vote for Donald Trump, but instead they circled the box for Kamala in private. And this is very, very interesting because I'm going to tell you something about what I think.
You still voting for him?
Hell yeah.
What about your wife?
She doesn't like him, but she's voting for him.
Same with mine.
What is this, The Handmaid's Tale? You know, if you have to worry about how your husband feels or what his actions are going to be if he finds out that you voted for the other person, you got bigger problems than voting, sister. Really? I mean, come on. I hated that commercial. Basically, it says lie to your husband. Charlie Kirk said something about that, and he caught a lot of heat. But he's right. Like, are you teaching or telling women, don't tell your husband? First of all, your vote is your vote. You can keep it in secret. If your husband asks, hey, who you voting for, honey? You say, none of your business. I'm not telling you. All right? If you have to worry about the consequences of that, then you have bigger problems. That's all I want to say. But what I did want to say is it reminded me of another group of people. And I find myself in this group. When you have been a Democrat and you have been a liberal and you did buy into all the liberal ideology and the wokeness, and you have a circle of friends like that who think the same way, and when you pull the scales off your eyes and you decide to wake up, and you say, you know what am I doing? I am voting against my interests because really in my heart and in my mind, I'm a conservative. I have conservative values. No, I don't believe in that. And no, I don't believe in this. And yes, I have Christian values. All right. Yes, I do believe in, strong families and, traditional families and things like that. If that's how you really, really think and feel, you don't really care what other people do, but you know what you want for your own family. All right. And you know what you want for your own livelihood and your economics. But yet you keep looking at this liberal agenda, this woke agenda, and where people are too afraid to, speak out. Your First Amendment rights are basically, proverbially stripped away, right? And you stop thinking that way. So you decide, I'm going to switch my party. I'm going to go independent or libertarian. And maybe you're too scared to go full-blown red. You may be scared to go too far Republican because that's going from the left maybe to just right of center, So when you're talking to friends and people like that, then you're like, I can't tell them that I'm going to vote for Trump. I can't share that with my friends and family because they're going to think differently of me. Maybe you have a customer base that you've accumulated that may be mostly liberal, maybe mostly Democrat. and you're afraid to put that out on social media or in the public because they're going to think differently of you. You may lose business. So you don't tell anybody. But when you go in the booth, you scratching Donald Trump, and they may think differently about you. So that's a whole different group. And I think that group could not be polled. That group is a different silent majority. That group made the election the landslide that it was. And we really, really have to think about that in elections going forward. There is a group of people who are like that. There was some other notes that I did have that I wanted to talk about on this podcast. Yeah, I saw that. The Breakfast Club, which of course is the urban radio station, Charlemagne the God, DJ Envy. Charlemagne came out. I don't have a clip, but if you go ahead and Google or YouTube Charlemagne the God after the election, he gave a very good speech. He did talk about how there's a path forward for America. He supported Kamala Harris, but he did not bash Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump's the president. We have to accept it, and we have to figure out how we can move forward within that. And I appreciated Charlemagne the God saying that, because there's going to be a lot of a Black radio host talking down who's going to hate America for the next 4 years. Charlemagne the God did say, I love America. So I want to give him credit for that. I want to give him kudos. All right. So good for him. But like I said, this was an amazing, amazing time. I'm extremely happy about it. And the last thing I want to talk about is Kamala Harris and her inability to concede the election last night and give a concession speech. So there are some out there who are pro Kamala, who say she doesn't have to. And what did Trump do when he lost? And the 2020 election or the 2019 election, whatever it was a big difference than this election. There was a lot of nefarious things going on. I don't want to say the election was stolen, but we know why J6 happened. But if Trump won today, if he won today like he did, sweeping the nation, 290 electoral votes, and there was not as many improprieties going on, and there was people watching this time to make sure that we had a fair election. That didn't happen in 2020. And all types of things were going on. There were truckloads of paper ballots coming in at the last minute. Votes weren't counted. There was problems in PA, problems in Milwaukee. There's a lot of people today and look at this election and they're thinking, see, I believe that we had the same results in 2020. So Donald Trump and those that supported him had every reason to believe that something wasn't quite right back then. Because today, when you look at these results, the House, the Senate, the White House, the electoral, the popular, I'm almost believing that it was the same way back then. What about you? Do you think that? Because I do. There's no way the tables turned that much. I did expect some change, but I didn't expect this much change. It tells me something wicked this way was going on in 2020. But nevertheless, all the people that campaigned for Kamala Harris, who filled the courtyard at Howard University, who came out to praise her and sing for her and play hip hop music for her, all the people that attended her rallies and cheered for her, the Beyoncés, the twerkers, the Megan Thee Stallions, the Cardi B's, all those people who stood for her and supported her. And she did not have the decency to come out and give a concession speech, to tell her people, thank you so much for all the work you've done. And even if she wanted to wait until the final tallies came in, she'll say, hey, listen, I just want to thank you all so much for coming out. I thank you for your support. If we did lose, whatever, thank your people. Show your face on the night of the election. Hillary Clinton did that when she lost to Donald Trump. Kamala, that's leadership. If you ever decide to run again in 4 years or in 8 years, whatever, those same people will come back for you, just like they came back for Hillary. You not showing up for your people, you sending a campaign manager out there or something to speak for you and just go home, take your football and go home and leave all those people hanging out. Those people would have loved you anyway, even in a defeat. But you decided, I'm not going to greet them. I was really disappointed. I didn't support you and I didn't vote for you. But I was disappointed that you didn't have that much gumption, that much leadership, to come out and greet your people. Here's what they thought on the news about you.
Now, one of the most extraordinary things about tonight that so many people are furious over, and I tell you what, I bet you Democrats will be ropeable about this. Kamala Harris didn't bother to appear, not gracious enough to stand up and say to Democrats and to her supporters who'd been waiting there for hours, thank you for your support. If she thinks the results were unclear, she could have said that. But she didn't. She went home. She was a no-show. What do you think of this, Paul?
It's a disgrace, and it's an insight into her true personality. The truth is now, look, I can sort of loosen it up a bit now because we're sort of out of the news time and we're now into the opinion time, and obviously in about half an hour I'm really going to want to let loose. But the truth is that when you lose an election, you can often see the true test of somebody. We saw that Stephen Miles failed that in Queensland, and we saw that Kamala Harris failed it here. If this election was travelling the way that it was, but in the opposite direction, like at 10 o'clock here, which was about 2 o'clock Sydney time, it was so clear, it was obvious that he was winning, that he had won at that point in time. So I think the networks would have started to rush towards the doors to say that Trump had been defeated and she's on her way and we'll let the numbers trickle in. But the fact that she didn't look the people in her eye who believed in her so much that they were willing to door knock and to debate and to call and to fight with their families and to stand in what can be cold at times in Washington was just... It was low. I can't come up with a more creative word that doesn't start to move into the ones that I get in trouble for saying sometimes on TV. Mm-hmm.
And that was Australia. So if she's getting grilled in Australia, you can imagine what America's media is going to do to her. And they're going to talk about that. That's going to be her legacy. That is going to be her legacy. So, listen, I don't have much. I gloated today, but I'm not going to gloat no more. It's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. And I do believe that Donald Trump is the man to do the work. But I did gloat today. I'm on TikTok making fun of a lot of people. I'm making fun of those who won't. Actually, I'm going to do one more TikTok live, maybe later tonight. But yeah, it is what it is. Y'all have a good day as I end all my podcasts. Peace.